He wants to pray over me and get the demons out of me. Coming out is never easy, but try doing it as a pastor's kid. Growing up in a very religious household was not just challenging, it was awful. Just growing up in general in a strict environment where you can't listen to pop music, everything has to be Christian music. If there's any cussing on movies, my dad would turn the movie off. Going to church 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah. It was hard and stressful. Realizing I was gay was kind of detrimental to me because I had all these fears instilled in me from my father about gay people going to hell and how it was a bad thing. And it was really hard for me to accept the fact that I was gay. I prayed harder than I've ever prayed in my entire life. I will do this and that if you just make me straight. Please, God, make me straight. Spoiler, it didn't work. Yeah, he didn't do that, which I'm thankful for now. Not only that, I was bullied in school for being gay. I hadn't even told anyone yet. Everyone just called me gay anyway. I didn't even know I was gay in 7th grade. Heck, I didn't even know what puberty was because my father didn't talk to me about puberty, so I didn't even get to understand what was happening with my body. I had to learn everything from a library book and the internet. Have any of you guys been in a similar situation where you had a parent that didn't talk to you about what was going on, and how did you figure it out? How did you get through it? When I realized I was gay, it did take me a while to accept it. A little backstory, because it's important to know the details in order for the story to fit. My parents were divorced when I was around 2 or 3. I lived with my mom for a couple years, and then I went to live with my dad and my stepmom in 1st grade. My dad was very religious. My mom went the other direction. My dad would say she was a sinner and she was going to hell. We had a church. I was a pastor's kid. Our church would move around the city a lot. One day it would be in one location. 6 months later it would be in another one. At some point it was in our garage in our house. We had about 2 families that regularly attended our church. They had 4 kids. We were all best friends, so it was actually pretty great getting to hang out with my friends. I didn't enjoy going to church. I really hated that, especially going Sunday morning and Sunday night and sometimes Wednesday. He would even sometimes go on Friday or Saturday. Sometimes as our punishment, we would have to go with them. Sometimes we would all go. It was just a lot. I hated it when it was more than just the 2 families, because then my dad would make the church service go on for at least an hour longer. He was a very loud preacher, so he would like to yell a lot, tell us how bad we were and how the world is coming to an end and all these things. The end of times is coming. Just really drill it into you that everyone there is a bad person and they need forgiveness. It was just a lot to listen to as a kid. I think I was almost 17, so I was a junior going in to be a senior. I didn't have MySpace during my junior year. Somehow I met this guy. He was cute. Head over heels in love with him. And he just so happened to live where my mom lived, 2.5 hours away. I tell my parents that I'm gonna go see my mom. For some reason, they've never done this before, but they didn't believe me that I was gonna go see my mom. I didn't think they would actually call her because every time my parents talked, it was a screaming death match. They would yell and yell, and it was just awful. I have no idea why they couldn't have a normal conversation. I just didn't think that they would call her. So my best friend drove me down there, Carmel, Indiana. I was in love. We made out for probably half an hour. It was cool. Boyfriends right away. We just in love. My friend is actually really mad at me that I was making out with this guy. He thought we were just gonna go out and hang out. Clearly, I had different plans. I wasn't gonna have with him. I wanted to make out with him. And then I get a phone call. It's my mom. I'm dreading answering this call, wondering why is she calling me? I know why she's calling me.
Hello? Where are you? Your parents told me that you're visiting me, but you're not here. What's going on?
Now I have to figure out, okay, I didn't even plan on coming out, but now I guess I kind of have to. What do I do? Well, I think we should talk. Me and her drive to Starbucks. They have a fireplace in the Starbucks. It was super nice. Sit next to the fireplace. I tell her that I came here to see a guy and that I'm gay. Thankfully, she has the best reaction. She's actually crying. She's actually really hurt because I used her as an excuse to meet somebody, so that hurt her feelings that I was going to go there and not see her, which I totally understand. She was very understanding of the fact that I was gay. Recently, she told me she actually knew I was gay years before. I thought that was kind of funny that she just now told me. She knew it was going to be really challenging for me to come out to my dad because of his religion and how he views gay people. That was going to be a scary moment for me. This next journey is going to be really hard for me. I basically have to come out to my parents. This whole thing wasn't something I had planned on, which I'm just now realizing that I didn't plan on coming out. It just kind of happened by accident. I get home and they're sitting on the couch. I tell them I need to talk to you guys. So they're sitting down by the window on the couch. I sit there and I twiddle my thumbs for a few minutes, hoping they don't pressure me into speaking, because I just don't have the capacity or the ability to speak at the moment. But then I finally get the courage and I say, and I just, in my head, I'm like, I have to just say it. So I say, I have to tell you something. I'm gay. And their first reaction was of disbelief. They didn't believe it at first. They asked me if I was gay with my friend. I wasn't gay with him, for sure. No, that was definitely not a thing. And they believed me, thankfully, because after that they didn't let me hang out with any guys except him. The next thing they said was not very nice, and I've remembered it ever since then, and it's, I guess, haunted me in a way. They both said it was disgusting. My dad said it was the most disgusting thing in the world. And then he said that I'm going to go to hell and burn in hell forever for being gay. And he said that he wants to pray over me and get the demons out of me. And I told him, no, you can pray over me on your own time. My father is yelling at me. My stepmom is angry, and they just think it's so awful, and we're arguing at this point. I can't handle it anymore, so I tell them that I need to leave, and I go and I basically move out. I grab clothes, I fill up my trunk, go and stay at my friend's house, our family friends. Funny enough, this is the guy that molested me for 10 years, and my dad, who is a pastor and a preacher and talks to God, and for some reason God never told him any of this stuff happened, which I find really bizarre since he's able to talk to God. I go and stay at their place 3 weeks. It's really hard living out of your car, basically. They have a 2-bedroom house, they have 4 kids, and their grandma stays with them. 8 people in a house. It was so cramped. Couldn't really do laundry. It was, I don't know, really, my car was full of all my crap. I slept on the couch, obviously, and I just had no space. And it was really hard 3 weeks. Coming out to your parents, them rejecting you, and then living in this situation. Thankfully, the mom, she's Sherry in my book. Sherry was so wonderful. Just like my real mom, she accepted me and told me it's okay. And also, Don was really supportive as well. Despite what he did to me, they were both really amazing through that period of my life. I don't know what I would have done without them at that point, which is weird to say, but yeah, they really helped me. 3 weeks rolls around, they get a phone call from my parents and they say, it's time to come home. I reluctantly, but also happily go back home because I missed my bedroom and my space. I can't have guy friends. I can't have guys over, minus our family friends that we already have. We have 2 of those. They both have 4 kids each, but that was it. I couldn't hang out with anyone else unless they were girls. It was okay. I just didn't talk to them at that point about anything gay related. Have any of you ever felt the pressure to be someone you're not, aka straight, when you're gay? Let me know how you handled it and how stressful that was for you and how you got through that. If this part of the story resonates with you, give me a thumbs up. Coming out can be really tough, but there's so much strength in being true to yourself. One of the hardest things I've ever done, very freeing after that to not have this pressure, dark secret clouding over me. For anyone going through a similar situation, it does get better. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to hear more about my story and how I've learned to navigate life since then. Things are much better than they were back then.